Hello, dear friends. Anyone who doesn't follow a single totalitarian way of thinking is falsely labeled as far-right, even if he's not a politician. That is an idiocracy. Opinion piece. Dystopia. Welfare crisis. Citizen reaction. Change of narrative. Oppressive normality. Europe doesn't agree. Europe is on tightrope. Massive transformation. Global panic over gold. Too many plane crashes. Final battle for humankind. Turbulent economic outlook. The biggest fraud in history. Elon Musk denounces NASA. Beware the year of the snake. Trump derangement syndrome. Let's start. A dystopia is the representation of a society that suffers oppressive conditions that cause human alienation, characterized by a loss of the feeling of one's own identity as a result of authoritarian policies. It is characterized by the loss of freedom of speech freedom and individual liberties, the propaganda of the official narrative, the control of citizens' privacy, and the dehumanization of society. Classic examples of political dystopias in literature include George Orwell's 1984, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. According to Jeffrey Tucker, the most dramatic narrative shift has been a change in the perception of government itself. For decades, and even centuries, government was seen as the essential bulwark for defending the poor, empowering the marginalized, achieving justice, leveling the playing field in trade, and ensuring the rights of all. Government was seen as a wise steward that curbed populist overzeal, mitigated the impact of fierce market dynamics, ensured product safety, dismantled dangerous pockets of wealth accumulation, and protected the rights of minority populations. For centuries, taxes on the population were sold as the price we pay for civilization. This vision had opponents on the right and left, but their radical critics rarely managed to take hold in public opinion in a sustained way. Offensive. But in 2020, something strange happened. Most governments around the world turned against their citizens. It was a surprise because never before had governments attempted something so bold. They claimed to exercise dominion over the microscopic realm worldwide. This implausible mission materialized with the release of a magic potion brewed and distributed with their industrial partners, who were indemnified against liability claims. This great crusade involved all levels of command, including the media, academia, industry, information systems, and science itself. It would be difficult to invent a worse fiasco outside of dystopian fiction. Politicians participated, but they did not seem to be in charge. The courts did not seem to play a major role either. Schools and places of worship were closed, along with small businesses. The forces that control each nation went back to something we did not normally think of as government. They were the administrators who occupied agencies that were considered independent of the public's control. They worked closely with their industrial partners in technology, banking, and corporate life. The Constitution did not matter, nor did the long tradition of rights, freedoms in plural, and laws. The labor force was divided between essential and non-essential in order to survive the Great Emergency. The essential people were the ruling class, plus the workers who served them. Everyone else was deemed not essential to social functioning. Within a year, this manifested itself in the form of inflation that drastically reduced real incomes during an economic crisis. Government is not what we thought. It is something else. It serves its own interests that are embedded in the structure of industry and civil society. Largesse flows primarily to the well-connected. Government became a machine that served only the plans and institutions of the elite. Opinions. The final battle for humankind is unfolding. Rulers feared a united people armed with truth. The storm is upon us, according to Judy Pinkton. Beware of the year of the snake 2025. The snake is a sign that can cause conflict. The environment will become a little more chaotic, and you have to be careful of accidents. The professor in Yale University's Jose Antonio Spin Sanchez warns that the economy could be overheated in the face of a bubble similar to the one that shook Wall Street markets in the 90s, with the collapse of the dot-com companies. We are on the verge of a massive transformation. Buckle up, because the economic outlook is looking increasingly turbulent. A confluence of factors, from persistent inflation to a slowing housing market and possible job cuts, suggests that we are on the verge of a significant transformation, which could bring with it an economic shock. The road ahead could be bumpy, but by recognizing these challenges and taking active steps, we can mitigate the potential pain and navigate the next transformation with greater resilience. Global panic over gold. The gold market has experienced remarkable volatility, reaching historic highs and generating concern worldwide. The price of gold has exceeded $2,900 per ounce due to economic and geopolitical factors. This panic has led to unusual situations in the gold market, such as discounts at the Bank of England and an increase in the cost of borrowing for the precious metal. Gold remains a key asset in central bank reserves. Any event that generates distrust in traditional currencies, such as the dollar or the euro, could trigger an increase in demand for gold. Audits. Elon Musk asks citizens to snitch on NASA. Musk presents Grok 3, his new smarter AI, to compete with OpenAI and DeepSeek. To compete, Musk prepares to investigate the $425 billion gold reserve at Fort Knox. Ron Paul claimed that the gold was stolen from Fort Knox via an executive order in the 30s. No member of Congress has been granted access to the vault in more than decades. Goldman rises gold touched to 3,100 on central bank demand. Silver prices rose to 33 an ounce on Friday, hitting their highest level since late October, with $35 in sight. Elon Musk has announced an SEC investigation for fraud, abuse, and waste. Doge seeks to access confidential taxpayer data at the IRS. Elon Musk says millions of people receiving social security benefits are between 100 and 159 years old. This could be the biggest fraud in history. Maybe the movie Twilight is real, and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. Elon Musk talks about Trump derangement syndrome. It's like some people have become irrational. Trump administration fires hundreds of nuclear weapons WECAs. Department of Education cancels another $350 million in spending on divisive ideologies. Department of Justice fires 20 immigration judges according to Christina Laila. White House asks Supreme Court to allow firing of chief prosecutor. Doge found a budget item almost impossible to track down person responsible for $4.7 trillion in payment, according to Greg Wenner. According to Kim Gogan, RFK Jr. has a huge task ahead of him. Let's see if any arrests are made. Elon Musk was planning to hook us up to his satellite system. Why has his satellite gone quiet? Cash battle will be the 70th Trump cabinet confirmation. Coincidence? With Cash battle's confirmation this weekend, Trump's team will be complete. What follows will be a Krakatoa of revelations, altering the political weather for years to come, according to James Howard Kanstler. CBS anchor criticized for wild claim that free speech used as a weapon led to the Holocaust. The northern border is an easy and unprotected target for Canadian coyotes smuggling migrants from Montreal to New York. There are too many air travel accidents lately, according to Jim Stone. Melania Trump will charge $28 million from Amazon for a documentary about her life. Negotiations. Talks between Russia and the US begin in Saudi Arabia. Rubio and Lavrov begin the first high-level meeting between Russia and the US since 2022 in Riyadh. The US and Russia hold peace talks in Saudi Arabia without Ukraine while Zelensky visits the Gulf. Trump's rush to make deal with Putin leaves Ukraine and Europe on the ropes, according to Stephen Collinson. Trump offers key concessions to Putin ahead of Ukraine peace talks, according to Collinson. Europe and Zelensky throw tantrums after US excludes them from peace talks with Russia. Zelensky declares he will reject any peace deal between Trump and Putin and vows to continue the war. US explained to the UN that the Ukraine goal is illusory and unrealistic. The Trump administration seeks an agreement with Belarus as in Ukraine. Russia has now won the war in Ukraine, says Eric Thuesen. European officials say no to Nobel for Trump if he secures peace in Ukraine. Trump could leave NATO if Europe derails US-Russia talks, says ex-Pentagon official. According to President Orban of Hungary, the EU is caught in the war and will learn from the press the result of the negotiations on Ukraine. Asia. Hamas agrees to hand over the Gaza Strip to the Palestinian Authority, according to Sky News. Egypt has a plan to rebuild Gaza without displacing Palestinians. An American shoots Israeli visitors in Florida, mistaking them for Palestinians. The US launches an airstrike against an Al-Qaeda leader in Syria. China is furious at the US hardening on Taiwan independence. Europe fails to agree on the possible sending of peacekeeping troops in Ukraine. The Polish Prime Minister says there will be no Polish troops in Ukraine. Trump's agenda is making investing in Europe even more attractive, according to Goldman Trader. European stocks hit record highs on hopes for peace in Ukraine. Defense stocks soar as EU leaders plan to increase arms spending. European bonds fall and concerns about defense spending. Russian gas supplies to Europe via Turkish Stream break all-time record. UK's Strammer ready to send British troops to Ukraine. UK has more extremists than Middle East, says Amhat Taha. Fixing Germany economy will be a difficult task for the next government. Could the EU overturn German election results if AfD does well? Former EU Commissioner Thierry Breton believes so. German authorities crack down on free speech online. The 60-minute segment documented Breton police raids on people posting memes and other content that one bureaucrat interpreted as hate speech. Media dismisses concerns about white genocide in South Africa. Thousands of hikers climb Mount Etna in Sicily to witness its eruption. 4.8 magnitude earthquake hits Lisbon. The European welfare state is collapsing. European politicians are using the excuse of the external enemy to disguise a system that is collapsing. This could be the biggest leftist meltdown we have ever seen. The White Rabbit says that social security is a right, and although most of us have paid for it throughout our waking lives, when it comes time to collect, the government is running out of money. According to Fox, European leaders meet while the talks between the US and Russia on Ukraine leave them tearing their hair out, with the exception of Hungary and Slovakia. The leaders who destroy Europe run around like headless chickens since their draconian plans have been exposed, and they don't know how to proceed. Tourism in Spain grows 4% in January and exceeds 2.6 million employees. Americas. Mexico presents a plan for its energy self-sufficiency. Mexico promotes its technological sovereignty with its commitment to semiconductors. Mexico recorded historic figures in its agri-food trade during 2024. Deported Mexicans can contribute to increased productivity. The Mexican Navy will monitor oil installations after acts of piracy. Mexican singer-songwriter Paquita La del Barrio dies at the age of 77. Yolanda Montes Tongolele, actress and dancer of Mexican cinema, dies at the age of 93. Cuba will bet on tourism and partial dollarization to revitalize its economy. Vote count in Ecuador shows a difference of 0.18% between Noboa and González. The technical tie in Ecuador opened opportunities for a new citizen government. Record heat in Rio de Janeiro with 44 degrees Celsius. The president of Brazil doesn't rule out reporting the US to the WTO and taxing its products. The government of Argentina announces the privatization of a company that manages national roads. Former Argentine President Alberto Fernández is prosecuted for alleged gender violence. Milei promoted a cryptocurrency and soon after it collapsed. Milei says, "I did not promote it, I only spread it." Argentine lawyers accuse President Milei of fraud for promoting the Libra cryptocurrency and file a class action lawsuit. Javier Milei faces impeachment after promoting a $107 million cryptocurrency whose value plummeted after he withdrew his initial backing. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.